Ask Dino. Ask Dino. Yes, sir. Ask Dino. Ask Dino.
Big D, Mad Dog on the mic. If you're gonna get it right, you might ask Dino.
If you wanna get it right, your production isn't tight. Turn them on tonight and ask Dino.
Big D, Mad Dog on the mic. If you're gonna get it right, you might ask Dino.
If you wanna get it right, your production isn't tight. Turn them on tonight and ask Dino. Dino. He knows.
Okay.
Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. Kelly.
Our next question is from Matt Thompson in Miami Beach.
Okay.
And it's, Dino, can you tell us the different people and the roles they play in a recording session? Like a producer and the first engineer, second engineer, intern runner,
Okay,
etc.
got it. What was his name?
It's Matt Thompson
Okay.
from Miami Beach.
Okay, Matt, all you Matts, all you guys look at me here, okay? I gotta tell you something. In the studio, you have to know your role, okay? Because one day your role could be the engineer, the next day your role could be the producer. So when you go into the studio, you have to know what your role is for that day, okay? Now, as far as starting out, I'll start at the bottom. If you're an intern, your job is there to learn, okay? So what you do, you go in there, you do what the producer tells you to do, you do it, usually the first engineer will tell you what to do. You do that, and then you come back in the studio and you sit there and you don't say one word to anybody. If you say anything to anybody, you say, stuff sounds great, it's good. Always be positive, never be negative, never say anything negative about the artist's music. When you have people in the studios that are artists, 99.9% of the time they're paranoid. There's paranoia going on, okay? They don't know if it's right or wrong. And if you say something to them, even as something that they're not thinking, they're gonna go, oh, well, maybe. You can't do that. You have to be quiet, okay? And learn. Your idea is for is to watch and learn. Okay, second engineer. Second engineer is the guy that is the first engineer's right-hand guy. If something goes wrong in the studio, the session's not going right, or a microphone is broken down, or he needs somebody to go do something, the engineer is sitting at the console or the Pro Tool set, go do this, fix this microphone, whatever. You go do it, you fix it, you come back in. Another guy, don't say nothing. You don't say nothing. If somebody asks you, what do you think? Good stuff, sounds great. Never say, I don't know, man, I don't know. Never talk to the artist unless they directly talk to you and say, what do you think? And even if you hate their music, you cannot say anything negative to them, okay? Now, first engineer. There is a huge difference between a first engineer and the producer. Now, myself, I do everything, okay? And I own a studio, so I have a kind of a leeway to be a different kind of a personality, because I have to be. But when you're a first engineer, your job is to do all the technical things to make them sound good. Your job is to make sure that sonically is right, everything, the right levels are there. Your job is to make them sonically sound good, okay? Give what I tell all my students when they come to me and they talk about the difference between an engineer and a producer, you do not give the artist advice ever. All you do, if you hear them out of tune or out of time, you may say, you may want to look at the timing, you may want to look at the tuning. You don't go, hey man, you're out of time, you're out of tune. You say, you may want to address this issue. Now, if they get back and they say to you, we like it, you're done. You don't talk to them again. You've done your job, you've done what you're supposed to do to remind them that they may be out of tune or out of time, okay? Now, if you're a first engineer, and you got the best production idea in the world, it is the best, and you know it'd be great for them, you still keep your mouth shut. And I'll tell you why. If you tell them something really good, and it works, first of all, you're not getting paid for that. So you're giving them a free advice, something that you may use down the line. Second of all, if you tell them something that they do, and they spend studio time doing it, and they love it, they're going to keep asking you over and over again and over and over again what they should do. Now, if there's a producer in the room, that's going to cause conflict. Bad, 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 bad. If they do it and they love it that day, they come back the next day, and they listen to it, and you know what? We don't like what you told us to do. Guess what? Guess who gets the brunt? The studio owner. because they go to the studio owner. Hey, Mr. Studio Owner, your engineer told us to do all this stuff. We spent 4 hours doing it. We don't like it. Guess what? We want those 4 hours back. Okay? That's why I'm telling you, if you're a first engineer, especially if you're first starting out, you do not give any production advice at all. Okay? Your job is to make sure everything sounds good. If they're out of tune or out of time, you may say to them, you know what, you may want to check this timing. You know, the timing's not right. You may want to check your tuning. You may want to address this again. I think you could possibly do one better. But do not say, you know what, I think you should put some guitar here or flute there or this and that. Don't do it, okay? It will come back on you. And besides that, you're not getting paid to produce. That's not your job. Your job is the engineer. Now, the producer is the guy that's the head of everything. He's the guy that is like a director on a film. The producer's that oversees everything. He's the guy that tells the engineer what to do. He's the guy that tells the second engineer, hey, we need some this, we need some that. He's the guy that tells all the players what to do. He's the guy, it's his responsibility to oversee the entire project, okay? Now, I am a drummer and I'm a producer. I'm an engineer and I'm a mixer. If I'm being hired to mix, then I mix. If I'm being hired to be an engineer, I do an engineer. And me, knowing what I know all these years, if I'm being hired as the engineer, I don't say nothing. I engineer. I don't go, hey, do this, do that, do that. I'm not getting paid to do that, okay? So you don't want to do stuff that you're not getting paid for, and you don't want to do stuff that's going to come back on you and bite you in the butt later on. Even if it's the best idea and it would help them out, don't tell them, okay? Do your job, and if they end up hiring you as a producer, come back, then you can tell them. But while you're doing an engineer, that's all you do. Producer, that's what you do. Second engineer, that's what you do. Don't mix it up, okay? There you go.
When you're a producer in your studio, how many people do you usually have?
Well, I'm normally by myself because I do everything myself. But I have, I have a second engineer with me once in a while to help me out. Mm-hmm. But see, I'm one of those guys that encompasses everything. So I have a second engineer. If I have I get a lot of interns from colleges and a lot of interns from music conservatories and recording schools. They come to me. They got to do 180 hours or whatever. So they come and they work with me and they watch. And they learn more from watching the real world in the studio than they do in their classes. This is at least what they tell me anyway. It's the real world is what they have to learn. Okay, so normally. Unfortunately for me, 9 times out of 10, I'm by myself.
And then you tell the artists what you think they should do then.
Yeah. There's producers that do beats, and guys that are good with vocals, and the guys. I do everything. I do everything from A to Z. I do it all, and I've been doing it for a long time, and that's what I do.
Do you play the drums a lot?
Yeah. Well, if it's a solo artist, I'll play drums. I would really like to have somebody else play drums sometimes, but a solo artist, I'll go in and play the drums because I know what I want to play. I just go in and nail it, boom, done, move on. As if I get a drummer in there, I got to tell him what I want. Then if it's not what I want, then I got to do it over again. Then I got to listen to him say, well, I can't. I do it myself, get it done, and move on.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Matt, for your question.
Yeah, Matt, thank you.
That dog on the mic. If you're gonna get it right, you might ask Dino.
If you wanna get it right, your production isn't tight. Turn them on tonight and ask Dino.
Big team, that dog on the mic. If you're gonna get it right, you might ask Dino.
If you wanna get it right, your production isn't tight. Turn them on tonight and ask Dino. Dino, he knows.